We just getting started, baby. Did anybody see what Mr. Wardell Steph Curry did to the Portland Trailblazers? They were nobodies. They beat the Giants. Trash. They beat the Broncos. Trash. If you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, my man's went Super Saiyan. I couldn't wear this until we actually caught a dub. And he did all of this damage in 36 minutes. Let that sink in. They beat the Eagles, trash. The Cowboys, trash. The Bengals, trash. The Jaguars, trash. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here on Rob's 2 Cents. My good people, Hello, world. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the show that's hot with your boy, Rob Scott. This is Rob's 2 Cents. What's going on, everybody? Man, I know it's been a while since I've done the show what I would like to say the traditional way, but no live show today. I figure people are out, enjoying times with their family, enjoying times with their friends. Something I'm going to be doing in a little while. So definitely wanted to get my show off. I was proud of myself. I showed amazing discipline. I could be out kicking it right now and chilling, but the work still has to get done. The job has to get done. Got some exciting things going on in my life personally. I just had my last day as a banker. You guys know how I like to do a little small talk before we get right into the show. Had my last day as a banker with Credit Union One. Had an amazing time there. Met some, tremendous leaders. Formed some tremendous friendships, and learned some things that I can use in my life. When applying for homes and other things of that nature. So, it was definitely sad to say goodbye, but I have a new chapter I'm going to be stepping in, going to be running the exhibitor services department or part of the exhibitor service department, for trade shows and getting things done on the operations side of things. So going to be doing some traveling. So I don't know how consistent I'm going to stay with the dates that I have now with Rob's 2 Cents, but you guys don't worry, don't fret. I will continue to do the show in any capacity that I can. I got some exciting things going on. I actually made my first radio appearance. A person that I met who's been doing sports radio for Chicago and for a very long time asked me to be a guest on his show, and I was very humbled and honored. Mr. Jerry Rouse and Brother Dan Marvelous, I hope I'm saying that right. They have a show called The Rewind Sports 60. It's on WCPT 820 AM radio at Chicago Sports Radio Station. So you guys make sure you check them out again. That's The Rewind Sports 60, WCPT 820 AM radio in Chicago. So hey, if you guys looking for some great sports conversations, just a great atmosphere, great energy, this is definitely a sports show to listen to. Again, I was humbled and honored. I appreciate you, Brother Jerry Rouse and Brother Dan Marvelous, for having me on you guys' show, and Brother Kelly Lee Williams, who was my connection to meeting Mr. Jerry Rouse. So some exciting things. That show is now up on my Facebook page. I'm going to share it also to my Rob's 2 Cents page on Facebook as well. So you guys can just check out the show, check those gentlemen out, check myself out on the show, and, just making connections in this world of sports that I love so much. So I'm still stoked about that, still on cloud nine about that. So it's a lot of big things happening for Rob's 2 Cents, man. I told you guys, man, we just getting started, baby. And we have to go into the conversation, because now I want you guys to tune on in and sit down for the hottest sports conversation in the nation. Come talk with your boy Rob. There's some things going on in the NBA right now. It's taken away from the beautiful games being played by these teams in the playoffs. These fans are getting out of control, y'all. I mean, the incidents that I've read about and listened to reports about, it's just getting out of hand. I mean, we had the incident in Philadelphia where a fan wants to pour popcorn on Russell Westbrook. As we know, Russell Westbrook and his history with the fans is very storied. I remember, him getting a fan kicked out, I believe, in Portland one time, and then we know about the incident that he had in Utah with a man and his wife, where he said that they yelled some racial slurs at him. So Russell Westbrook is about tired of these fans out here, these super fans who think it's okay to mess with a person while he's trying to make a living, while he's trying to earn his keep. Russell Westbrook just had, tweaked his ankle. He's already agitated. It's already aggravated. Has to leave the game. He's walking in through the tunnel. Fans decide to throw popcorn on him. Just nonsense. Then we have the incident in New York. I believe that, the New York fans, New York Knicks fans, as we know, they're super fans. You have to be a super fan when your team hasn't won in 20 plus years. However, the Knicks their fans continue to cheer them on. As we know, Madison Square Garden is known as the Mecca. And it was such a great atmosphere in New York. Just to hear those fans and to see the support of, people cheering on their team. It was just beautiful. And then it gets ruined because a guy decides he wants to spit at Trae Young. Hey, Trae Young is just having a game against you guys. Not to mention, Trae Young in that series, man, he's going berserk. I got it pulled up right here on my phone. He's averaging 27.5 points a game and 10 assists per game. You want to talk about getting it done. I can imagine Knicks fans being a little aggravated with Trae Young. But spitting at somebody is just unacceptable. It's disgusting. It's degrading. I mean, you spit on the ground. So if you spit at me, you telling me that I'm not worth more than the ground. And that's just unacceptable. And then we get incidents with Ja Morant parents. Supposedly somebody told Ja Morant's father, I'll put a quarter in your back and make you dance or make you play for me or make you dance for me or make you entertain. Something along those lines. They said some obscene things to his mother, to his wife. These are things that just should not happen at an NBA game. Now, those people have been taken care of. They've been arrested. Then we just had an incident last night. The Nets defeated the Celtics 141-126. Great game by the big three. Kevin Durant, 42 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. James Harden, 23 points, 8 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 5 rebounds, 18 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, getting it done everywhere. Big game, James Harden. And then Kyrie Irving, he goes for 39 points against his former team. He was 11 of 24 from the field, 6 of 12 from distance. Also had 11 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals to go with his game. So I can imagine why the Celtics fans were a little perturbed. They're saying, Kyrie, where was this when we had you here? Where was this, Kyrie, when you were supposed to be the leader of this team? And then right after the game, Kyrie goes to the middle of the court. He just grinds his foot into the Celtics logo. Everybody know about that little leprechaun. He just grinds his foot in his eye. And he walks off the court. He's made a statement, as I mentioned. 39 points, 11 rebounds. Talk about getting it done from your small shooting guard. That's what Kyrie does. But what this fan did was just despicable. Somebody sitting at the upper half of the stadium decides they want to throw a water bottle at Kyrie Irving. Now, Kyrie had just made statements prior to coming to Boston saying that, Boston has a history of its racism. As we know, Boston still didn't want to accept Bill Russell, even though he was out there winning you guys championships, even though he was a player and he was a coach, and still winning championships. Bill Russell didn't get treated like his white counterparts. We know about the racist energy in Boston as a city. And there's nothing against Boston, and I'm not saying everybody out there is this way. But we know that you guys have a history. And Kyrie, made reference to that history, saying, hey, keep it basketball. Hey, if you want to heckle. But just keep it all about basketball. And this fan decides he wants to throw a water bottle at Kyrie. And that water bottle had to have water in it, because to make it from where he was sitting at, We know an empty bottle wouldn't have made it that far. And that bottle came with accuracy because it was literally right there. It literally just missed him. And it was caught by Tyler Johnson, a teammate of Kyrie's over there at the Brooklyn Nets. And he pointed up in the stands, and of course, fans told on the guy. Got arrested. He now has a lifetime ban at TD Garden. Great job, Boston. Great job, Celtics, in that organization over there. Great job by the owners of that stadium. Hey, you cannot do things like that. Hey, it's okay to say, hey, bro, you're trash. Hey, bro, you suck. But keep it sports. Taken away from the game that this Big Three had in, Jason Tatum himself had 40. Not enough. But he's out there playing his heart out. Kemba was out with the injured knee. We know they are really missing Jaylen Brown right now, who's out after having season-ending surgery. So we knew that the Boston Celtics pretty much didn't stand a chance against the Brooklyn Nets. And they're looking like they're about to get taken out. As we know, the Nets are going to be playing them, I believe, either tomorrow night. And they're up 3-1 right now. And Kyrie said after the game, or KD, one of the two, he said, we're going to make sure we take care of business at home because we ain't coming back here. Hey, the Nets say they ready to play. And it looking like it's going to be the Nets versus the Bucks in that second round. And that's, my friends, is when things are going to get interesting. Because Milwaukee completed their sweep already. They're just waiting on the Nets to hold up on their end of the bargain. Because the Milwaukee Bucks have swept the Miami Heat 4-0. No gentleman's sweep, straight boom. What they say on Inside the NBA, 1, 2, 3, Cancun. The Miami Heat are up out of there. And you have to remember, this is the same team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, that made it to the finals last year in the bubble. But it looked like they left their game in the bubble because the Milwaukee Bucks came out swinging. Let's look at Game 3 as they had to go in Miami. They won every quarter. The Heat got off to such a slow start that they had scored 8 points in the first 9 minutes of that game in Game 3. Chris Middleton led all scorers with 22 points. He was 8 of 16, 3 of 9 for the three-point line, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. The Greek freak, Big Giannis Antetokounmpo, 17 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 17 rebounds out there, just a stud, 5 assists, one steal. Jrue Holiday, probably one of the better two-way defenders in the league. 19 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line to go along with 12 assists and 3 rebounds. Jimmy Butler only had 19 that game. Bam had 17 that game, but they didn't get any help from anybody else. And then in the closeout game, Game 4, Milwaukee sweeps the Heat, 120-103. Just a complete team victory. Chris Middleton had 20. Brook Lopez had 25. Jrue Holiday had 11. Bryn Forbes had 22 points off of 7 made three-pointers. He was 7 of 14 from the field. And Giannis, the Greek freak, with the 20-point triple-double, adding also with those 20 points, 12 rebounds and 15 assists. Just getting it done. I told people, this Milwaukee franchise, this team, is not the same Milwaukee we've seen for the past 3 years. Now, granted, Giannis has still continued his play at an MVP level. And granted, Giannis has not changed his game that much. This is still the same Giannis we've seen in years past. But they've added players. They've bought defenders. They bought players that can not only defend but stretch the floor. So that way you cannot build up a wall against Giannis. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the defense that teams set up when they played the Milwaukee Bucks was simple. Hold down the fort. Build the wall. Do not let Giannis Antetokounmpo penetrate. Do not let him kill us with his athleticism. Force him to shoot the ball. Force him to be a playmaker. But don't let him run out here on us, open fast breaks, just weaving his way through the lane, bullying people out of the paint. But you can't build that wall now. You have Drew Holiday, who can not only defend players, but he can hit that three ball. And he can get his own shot. You got P.J. Tucker, who can defend people and hit those corner threes. You still have Brook Lopez. You still have Chris Middleton. You have a Brent Forbes. This team, you have a Robin Lopez who can just bang down in the paint. A Bobby Portis. I'm telling you guys, man, the Milwaukee Bucks are the real deal. And it is going to be an interesting series in that second round, in that semifinals, to see the Nets versus the Bucks, because it's not going to be a cakewalk. We know that the Nets have the three best one-on-one scorers in the league, all on the same team. In Kyrie, in KD, in the bearded one, James Harden. As I mentioned, we see how they are destroying the Celtics. But let's see when that competition raises. Because Milwaukee is there, Milwaukee is healthy, and Milwaukee is ready. And Milwaukee has had time off to prepare for you. We see the writing on the wall with the Celtics. They fought valiantly. But they're not going to do anything against a Brooklyn Nets team, especially being with a roster that's so depleted. Going to be watching out for that. Another powerhouse in the East. The Philadelphia 76ers. Do y'all see? These playoffs right now are showing us that certain players are ready to take over as the top dog in the league, because that's what Joel Embiid has been doing. Because Joel Embiid is only averaging 28 minutes in this playoff series against the Washington Wizards, yet he is still averaging 29.3 points a game off 67.4% shooting from the field and 54.5% shooting from distance, along with 7 rebounds and 3 assists. We're talking about your center who's shooting over 50% from the three-point line. If we look at what they did game 3, the 76ers defeated the Wizards 132-103. Joel Embiid only played 3 quarters. He had 36 points. He was 14-18 from the field. He was 3 of 4 from the three-point line. He had 8 rebounds. He had 2 assists. He had 3 steals. He had 1 block. We're talking about a powerhouse of a man. And Joel Embiid, the 7-footer, is not out there playing games with people. He's like a combination of Shaq and Dirk Nowitzki. Because he can post you up and he can hit that fadeaway, or he can post you up and dominate in the post. He can take you out to that three-point line. And he can dribble the ball. He's not that bad dribbling the ball. Joel Embiid is a monster. And he's going to be a staple in this league as long as he can keep himself healthy and in shape for a very long time. Not to mention, you had Danny Green, who had 15 points off 5 threes. Tobias Harris, who's just becoming their closer, who's becoming their go-to guy. He had 20 points, 13 rebounds. You had Seth Curry, who had 15 points off of 3 threes. I mean, and Ben Simmons, who had 14 points off and 9 assists. And as I mentioned, Steph Curry, I mentioned this on the show yesterday on the Rewind Sports 60 show that I was a guest on. And I said, what is in the Curry's water? Why is it that every person that is affiliated with that family can shoot the ball? We look at Seth Curry. We look at the father, Dale Curry. And then, of course, we look at Wardell Jr. and Steph Curry, who's the greatest three-point shooter we've ever seen to ever play in the NBA. I'm telling y'all right now, man, it's something in that Curry water. Who's hungry for curry chicken? But let me tell y'all, man, the Philadelphia 76ers might have the scariest starting five in the league right now because they have it everywhere. You have a floor general in Ben Simmons who can just get to where he wants to on the floor. If he really added a jumper to his game, the man to be unguardable. You have Seth Curry, who's going to hit you wide open threes. You have Danny Green's going to hit you wide open threes. You have Tobias Harris, who I mentioned, who is just turning into a superstar right in front of our very eyes. And then you have the big man, Joel Embiid, who right now is probably the best center in the NBA. It's a competition between him and the Joker. But if you ask me, I will take Embiid over the Joker any day. Even though I know the Joker is more than likely going to be the MVP of this season, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm taking Embiid over the Joker every time. This man is a monster. Now, even though I know the best ability is availability, and the Joker is going to give you that, since he was the only person in the MVP race that played every game this season. But just off pure talent, if we're saying I want to take the Joker's talent and I want to take Joel Embiid's talent, who do you want on as your starting center? I'm taking Embiid. Embiid is a monster. And he's playing with such a confidence right now that he knows he's a monster and there's nothing that you can do about it. Russell Westbrook, on the other hand, he had another triple-double. He had 26 points. He had 9 of 18 from the field, 3 of 6 from the three-point line, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. Russell Westbrook probably had his most efficient game of the year. 26 points, 9 of 18 from the field, 3 of 6 from the three-point line, to go along with 12 rebounds and 10 assists. That's crazy when that's not enough. When those triple-doubles are not enough. Because we're talking about going against an offensive juggernaut in the 76ers. They have the pieces there. And they are playing lights out right now. Bradley Beal didn't have too bad of he didn't have that good of a game. He had 25 points, but he was 10 of 26 from the field and 1 of 8 from the three-point. What am I going to do with that? We're talking about the person that was the second leading scorer in the NBA all season. He gave me the points. But he worked hard for it. It took him 26 shots to get 25 points. He was 1 of 8 from the three-point line. And that's the difference. Because the 76ers play defense as well. Remember, Ben Simmons is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Remember, Joel Embiid has been a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year for the last couple of seasons. They got some defenders over there. Danny Green might not be the same Danny Green as he was, but he can play defense. And so can Tobias Harris. And they have some guys coming off that bench that can play defense as well. So the East right now is not a cakewalk as it used to be. Because those are your three bigs. Those are the big three in the East. The Bucks, the 76ers, and the Nets. Oh, it's getting good, y'all. Also tonight, the Wizards, they're going to be going against the 76ers to fight for their playoff lives because right now the 76ers are up 3-0, and they are looking to sweep the Wizards in Washington tonight. Also, Utah, they're in a tough series right now against Memphis. It's been a very tough series in this playoff competition with these two teams. Keep in mind, Donovan Mitchell didn't play the first game. So, we seen John Morant kind of show out and was able to get that first game without Mitchell being there. But since Mitchell has been back, Utah is up 3-1. And they're going to be trying to sweep and getting Memphis up out of there, getting ready for the second round. Now, since Donovan has returned to the lineup, he's been on the tear. He's averaging 27 points in 2 games. But he hasn't shot the ball particularly well as he's shooting 40.5% from the field and 35% from the three-point line. Not bad, but Donovan can do better. We remember that epic duel he had with Jamal Murray back in the bubble last season, and we've seen Donovan Mitchell go nuclear. So I'm pretty sure that, remember, I think he missed the final 16 games of the season with that ankle injury. So, for Utah to still maintain that number one seed was amazing all in itself. And now that you got Donovan back, he just has to get back into basketball shape. That's a tough task to say, hey, miss these last 16 games, but come back in the playoffs and be the same guy you were before you got injured. But this has been a coming out party for Ja Morant, as I mentioned, because he's making a name for himself. This is his second year in the league, his first time appearing in the playoffs, and he's averaging 33.7 points a game off 51.4% shooting from the field. Ja is making a name for himself. Now even though he's doing that, Utah won game 3, 121 to 111. Led by Donovan Mitchell, who had 29 points, and Michael Conley right behind him with 27. A lot of players like to play good when they play against their former team. And, Mike Conley is definitely playing better for the Jazz this year as opposed to last year. They need the Mike Conley that we saw in Memphis for all those years. And Utah has to show me something. I know they were the number one seed in the Western Conference. People have high hopes for them, and they are a great team. They're a very efficient three-point shooting team. You got Bogdanovich over there. You got Ingles over there. You got Donovan Mitchell over there. You got O'Neal over there. You got Mike Conley over there. You got some shooters over there. So, people now, they want to see, okay, you got what you need. You got a great big man, another Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and Rudy Gobert. You have your superstar and Donovan Mitchell. You got a nice bench. You got great players to come off the bench and to get in rotation. You got sixth man of the year, Jordan Clarkson over there. Can't forget about him. Can't forget about instant offense coming off the bench. I mean, Utah has a great squad. Now you have to do something with it, Utah. And right now they're taking care of business with the Grizzlies. But let me tell you guys something, man. Don't be surprised, if Utah disappoints a lot of people, because who does Utah have to play next in these playoff series? Let's look it up. I got my trusty phone out here, y'all. Utah will be playing, if they win, they play the winner of the Clippers and Dallas series. And that's a series that's been going down right now. I have to talk about this series. The series is tied 2-2. These guys have been putting on the show. We got Kawhi Leonard right now, who's averaging 33 per points a game, 8.5 rebounds a game. Luka Doncic is right there with him, averaging 33.3 points a game and 8 rebounds a game and 8 assists a game. Now, Luka, they said he had a cervical issue, a cervical spine issue, around his neck area. They said he couldn't turn his neck around fully, so he's a little bit hurt right now with that stinger. Hey, but no excuses. We didn't give Chris Paul an excuse, and we can't give Luka an excuse. Yesterday the Clippers played excellent defense on Luka. They made sure that Luka was not going to be the person to beat him. They sent the house at Luka. Every time I looked up, it was a different man on Luka. You had Kawhi on Luka. You had Paul George on Luka. You had Nicholas Batum, who they inserted in the starting lineup. Great move by Coach Ty Lue to allow the Clippers to play a little smaller. You had Batum on Luka. You had Marcus Morris on Luka. You had Patrick Beverly on Luka. Terrence Mann on Luka. Even Rajon Rondo on Luka. I mean, they sent the house at him. Everybody was on Luka. He could not get situated or settled in, and then to go with that injury, man, they just blew them guys out of the water, man. That was a great game that we saw in Game 5. Game 4, as the Clippers beat them 106-81. Just a complete team effort. Kawhi Leonard is just being clutch out there, doing Kawhi-ish things. And as I mentioned on the show yesterday on the Rewind Sports 60 show that I was on, if the Clippers can get past the Mavericks, especially now, because if we look into the Lakers and Phoenix series, AD went down with a groin injury. He seems to be a little injury prone, and I feel bad for him, especially he's a native from Chicago. My thoughts and prayers are with AD and hoping that he's able to play, but they're saying he's going to likely miss Game 5. The Clippers can very well be the toughest team in the Western Conference. They can very well be the toughest team in the Western Conference. The Clippers right now are playing at a great pace right now. They're showing that they can be a great defensive unit. Rondo is settling the team. Kawhi is being the superstar we know him to be. Paul George is being a great supporting superstar. I mean, all-star. You know, he kind of lost the title of superstar with some of his performances. But, hey, we still have to remember that PG-13 can't go crazy at any time. They got some great players over there. You got Zubac. You got Ibaka. You got Batum. You got Marcus Morris Sr. You got Terrence Mann. You got Rondo. They got some players over there in with the Clippers. And they looking like they're trying to be the team to beat in L.A. Because I don't know if the Lakers can beat the Suns without AD. LeBron hasn't shown me enough this year that he can take over this series without Anthony Davis. I know LeBron is LeBron, and it's hard to doubt LeBron because he's stepped up each and every time, you know, those doubts seem to, you know, get a little louder. But the LeBron I've seen this season was kind of grooming AD to be the best player on this team. LeBron is here to kind of guide and navigate. He's done, you know, having to take over games. And I don't know if his body would allow him to take over games, just based off what I've been seeing. Now, I was watching Skip and Shannon earlier, and they say degree of difficulty. They give it around, I think Shannon said a 5, Skip said a 2 or a 3. I'm going to go ahead and say an 8. Because without Anthony Davis, and Chris Paul seems to be getting healthy and healthier, scoring 18 points in that game with 9 assists and leading his team to victory over the Los Angeles Lakers and tying up this series 2-2. Chris Paul looked damn good out there. And Chris Paul is showing why he was such a great addition to a Phoenix Suns team that went undefeated in the bubble. 10-0 in the bubble. Even though they didn't make it into the playoffs, they were trending in the right direction. And that trend looks to continue to be going because you add a Chris Paul and they finished the regular season number 2 in the Western Conference. Phoenix hasn't been that high in the rankings since Charles Barkley played. Now, they did have a high ranking over there with Steve Nash and them boys. But it's been a while since Phoenix was a true championship contender. And right now, especially with the injury to AD, with the Nuggets being depleted and them going back and forth with the Portland Trail Blazers, they were able to tie up their series. Great game by Norman Powell, had 29 points. I told people again, Norman Powell was a great addition to the Blazers. I saw what he used to do with Toronto. He used to give people headaches. Even when he played against my wall, oh my God, somebody stop Norman Powell. I've seen the damage that he can do, and I was reading on some of the comments on YouTube. You know, the people in Toronto call him Playoff Norman, Playoff Powell, and he is showing that. Showed up big, stepping up as that third scorer to go along with Dame Dollar and C.J. McCullough. Man, I'm telling y'all, man, these playoffs have been interesting. And I'm gonna give you my, and then of course, you know, the Knicks in Atlanta. I discussed them briefly. But, you know, Julius Randle's averaging 16 points a game, but he's averaging 27.4% shooting from the field and 33.3% from the three-point line. What am I going to do with that? We're talking about a guy who was just crowned the NBA's most improved player. And he's playing like trash right now. The New York Knicks are not going to win anything unless Julius Randle is the best player on the side of the ball for the Knicks. And that's been Derrick Rose, ladies and gentlemen, because Derrick Rose is averaging 22.8 points a game. And nobody can stop Trae Young right now, who's averaging 27.5 points this series. So the Knicks right now are looking like the Knicks that we've been accustomed to in the past. But I'm gonna keep rooting for him just for Derrick Rose. I got a soft spot in them just for Derrick Rose, Tom Thibodeau, and my boy Taj Gibson because the Knicks, you know, those were my guys. I'm sorry, Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson and Tom Thibodeau, those were my guys. So they're playing for the Knicks organization right now. So the Knicks, you got a fan in me for right now. Especially to see D Rose back playing meaningful basketball. It just feels good to see him overcome all those obstacles, all those trials and tribulations that he had to face just to be an NBA player, youngest MVP ever. Injured both knees. Had to sit out for a long period of time. And was able to come back and turn a franchise like the New York Knicks around and have them playing playoff basketball and being the best player on that team during this series against the Atlanta Hawks. While Trae Young out there cooking you. Ice Trae, showing y'all it get a little chilly in the air. Telling you guys, man, we have been watching some great playoff basketball. I've been excited. I've been glued to the TV. And if I haven't been around the TV, I've been glued to my phone, keeping up with all the action, watching all the highlights. This is what I do. So we already know. We're going to give you my predictions of who's going to get in the second round. And then we're going to keep the discussion going as we start to see if I was right or wrong. Philly is up 3-0 in their series against Washington. And the Knicks are up 3-1 in that series against Atlanta. Game 4 for Philly and Washington to be played tonight. I have Philadelphia winning. I don't see Wizards winning a game, especially if Westbrook is truly out, or injured with that ankle sprain. I just see Philly dominating again. Another big game from Joel Embiid. So I got Philly versus the Hawks in the next round. I do see New York winning the next game, but then Atlanta, putting them out of their misery for Game 6. So I have Philly versus Atlanta in the second round. And then we already know Milwaukee is in the second round. And we know Brooklyn, who's going to be also playing tomorrow night against Boston. They're up 3-1. I believe they put Boston out of their misery, especially with the incident that happened with that fan. They don't want to go back to Boston. So they're going to go ahead and put Boston down, take him out in the woods. He's sick. They can't go on anymore, and put him down for the count. So we'll have Milwaukee versus Brooklyn in that next round. And then I see Utah and Memphis honestly going to 7 games. I just do. I believe Memphis, they've shown a lot of courage this year. They've shown a lot of tenacity, and they've shown the ability to bounce back. A lot of perseverance this year. So I can see this game going to 7. I still have Utah beating Memphis to go to the second round. And, it's tough, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Clippers over Dallas. I just feel like right now the Clippers are starting to click, and that's not good news for Dallas. And if that injury is serious with Luka, that's definitely not going to be good news for Dallas because they're not winning anything without Luka. So I see Utah versus the Clippers in the next round. And then as far as Denver and Portland, right now they're tied 2-2. We have Game 5 tomorrow. This is another series that I see going to 7 games. And surprisingly, I see Portland coming out of the series. I just think the loss of Jamal Murray is too much. And then also they've been without Will Barton for a couple of games as well. And as we know, he's the energy guy for this team. I don't see Denver being able to overcome all those obstacles. I see them losing to the Portland Trail Blazers in a 7-game series. And if AD is down as far as with LA and Phoenix is concerned, I have Phoenix winning this series in 6 games. I believe if AD misses Game 5, which is tomorrow night, if Phoenix goes up 3-2, they're going to win this series in 6 games. When they go back to they're going to be in Phoenix for Game 5. The crowd is going to be there. They're going to be loud. Chris Paul is playing great again. And, we've seen this team, as they win, they get more confidence. And as that confidence begins to show, they become a complete monster of a team to deal with. So I have Phoenix defeating the Lakers in a 6-game series FAD is indeed out for the rest of this series. Sorry, Lakers fans. I just don't see LeBron being able to do it by himself. And groin injuries are nothing to play with. If AD is out with that groin and the way he was walking off so gingerly yesterday, it's not looking good for the Los Angeles Lakers. Also, one quick hitter before we end the show. Just wanted to let you guys know the fight. I know a lot of people feel this way or that way about the Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight. That fight will be out this Sunday. Yes, Sunday, June 6th. Mayweather wanted to fight on a Sunday evening. I don't know why. Should have kept it at Saturday so people can drink and be merry and not have to get up in the morning. But, hey, Mayweather is looking at it from a marketing standpoint. He knows people are at home on a Sunday getting ready for their Mondays. So why don't you order the fight and watch my boy Mayweather take that boy to school. I think it's going to be a massacre, honestly. I don't think Logan Paul want any parts of Mayweather seriously. But this was just, too much of a big payday for either one of them to pass up. So I ain't mad at either one of them. Do y'all thing, man. I'm going to definitely be watching the fight. I saw my boy Devin Haney retain his title. Devin Haney is a monster. I know he's someone who's trained over there with Mayweather before. Another up-and-coming undefeated fighter. Devin Haney retains his title in a great fight. I'm going to have to rewatch that fight. I didn't get a chance to really sit down and watch it as thoroughly as I would like. But we also see Ryan Garcia calling out Tank Davis. So I'm interested to see if that fight is going to happen. And then also the fight with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder coming up soon as well. So we got some exciting things going on in boxing right now. So I'm just keeping my eyes on all the sports. But right now, my focus and time is dedicated to this NBA playoffs. As you guys can hear, I have so much excitement just going on about these playoffs, man. And I'm glad I have this platform to come talk to people about it. Going to be doing a special show as well with my VP for all my wrestling fans out there, the top 10 wrestling factions in the WWE with my former VP from the place I was just working at. So I got some exciting things coming on. Don't know if you guys noticed. As you guys see, I got the Rob's 2 Cents shirt. Man, we got a lot going on right now, man. I just really bought this for self-promotion, honestly. But I got people saying that they want it. So going to be out here talking to some printing companies to see what I can do. Charge about $15 a shirt and make it do what it do. If people really want it, I'll make sure I have it for you. And that's my show, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for sticking around, man. Again, I was proud of myself. I wanted to be out here chilling first, but I'm like, you know what? Outside ain't going nowhere, but my dreams will. I got to stay on top of them, man. I got to stay focused, got to stay disciplined. And I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed myself talking about playoff basketball. I can't wait to have some co-hosts and some guests on my show. I don't mind doing it by myself, but I would love to just bounce ideas off people. That's why I love doing my live shows. So I'm probably going to be doing a live show next week. Starting on my new job. Just so much going on in my life right now, but this is what I want. I want to keep busy. I want to keep focused. Hope you guys are enjoying the games that the NBA has presented to us. Please don't let these crazy fans take away from the fact that we've been seeing some outstanding basketball play in these playoffs, man. I hope you fans really get it together. I'm not going to make the excuse for you that you were locked up during quarantine and you just don't know how to behave. So look, you're grown, okay? Behave accordingly. Learn how to be to be a fan and stop acting like, you're one of those opponents out there on the court with these people, okay? Heckle in a nice way and then take your butt home. But to get arrested on national TV, and that's why I didn't even glorify the guy by saying his name that threw the water bottle at Kyrie, because he's not important. You're a non-factor, guy. Mind your manners and realize these are professional athletes out here making a living and entertaining you. Sit there and be entertained. And I hope you guys continue to have a great week. I got the rest of the week off, thank God. But as you guys can hear, even though I'm not at work, I'm still working, if that makes sense. I love you guys. I appreciate the continued support, the continued kind words. Just, I see you liking posts. I see you sharing posts. I just see you subscribing. I see you promoting. I appreciate all you guys, man. Hey, because if one of us make it, we all can make it. That's my motto. If I see you do it, I know I can do it too. And, I'm going to show people, man, you can make your dreams come true. You just got to work for what you want. And this is my time, ladies and gentlemen. This has been your boy, Rob Scott, back with another edition of Rob's 2 Cents, man. Hope you guys have a great evening. Hope you guys continue to be great. And you already know the slogan, baby. We gone! There's a bigger fight going on. There's a much bigger agenda than the streets. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that far in front of us. But we have to look past the illusions, look past the delusions of grandeur, and look at the bigger picture. We need to become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Fight for what you believe in. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We just getting started, baby. You guys know the slogan now. Hope you all have a great evening. And we gone.